Our final test of strength lies waiting for us in the decimated ruins of Castle Shrade. One last hurdle that I was never able to overcome 3 years ago. Finally, after all this time, Fatalis will go down in this video. Fatalis, or the Dark Demise, sits composed, almost as if it's been expecting us. Overcast by a blood-red sky, we're surrounded by the decimation of a kingdom wallowing in the shadow of its former glory. Capcom certainly sets the stage for our final mission, and believe me when I say, the show is only just beginning. A quick TLDR for any new viewers. I was still very new to the game when Fatalis was originally released, and nowhere near ready to hunt him. Following on from a handful of failed attempts, bluntly speaking, I gave up. However, I decided that one day I would come back and finish what I started. That day turned out to be 3 years away, but better late than never though, right? Like Alatreon, Fatalis is considered a dangerous first-class monster, or a black dragon. These are monsters with, quote, an unnatural presence and can bring the world to destruction if they wanted to. Often these few elder dragons are simply noted as legends because so little is known about them. With that being said, let's unravel the fight mechanics. What I've learned to love about Fatalis is that he is scarily simple. Now, don't get me misunderstood. While I say simple, he is extremely far from easy, as I'm sure many of you would agree. It is this concept that adds to his design in my opinion. Fatalis, in his arrogance, doesn't need to rely on petty tricks or gimmicks. By his pure strength alone, wielding flames of unrivaled power, he will destroy entire civilizations overnight. With that being said, Fatalis is your typical European mythological dragon. He bites, breathes fire, and swipes his tail. In a way, his moveset is very similar to Rathalos, which feels very strange to compare. Bear in mind, he will hurt 10 times more than Rathalos, and his hitboxes are twice the size, among other things. But truly, there's not much in his standard move pool that will catch you too off guard in this sense. Positioning and timing will serve you well in this battle. Me having come back to the game with dual blades was a huge help. Despite his tremendous stature, the dragon will often travel across the arena or reposition while using other moves. After you've dealt around 20% of his HP, he will commence the first of many novas. This is an area-wide attack similar to Alatreon's Eschaton Judgment. The solution to surviving this is very easy. Simply retreat behind the cover in the corner of the arena, as explained by NPCs. If you are doing this quest for the first time via the special assignment, you will get a cutscene here instead. This ultimate attack demonstrates the extreme firepower at the monster's disposal. He melts away chunks of the battlefield and opens up new parts of the arena for the hunter to access. The roaming ballista immediately becomes available for use here, which can deal great damage to begin the second phase. Dealing enough siege damage from cannons and ballistas around the map will guarantee a knockdown to then create another free damage opportunity. I have a few useful tips to capitalise on this damage and help you get to that knockdown. Firstly, make sure to tenderise Fatalis' chest before reaching phase 2, as you'll deal a lot more damage with the ballista. Secondly, you can use the heavy artillery skill to increase the ballista's damage by up to 100%. You can slot these decorations into the temporal mantle to not take away other useful skills from your active build. Naturally, this means you will need to equip the mantle before using the ballista to gain the skill's effect. My final tip for the roaming ballista is to drop a few smoke bombs on top of yourself to become hidden before firing. It confuses Fatalis and makes him far easier to hit. I like how siege weaponry is integrated into this fight. Personally, I feel that it adds to the history of the map. Whoever occupied this fortress before you clearly tried their best to fend off this threat and yet still failed. These cannons and ballista, however, can also distract you into taking more hits than you would like and definitely require the correct timing. Fatalis certainly doesn't just sit idly by while you're pelting him with projectiles, so use these wisely. At 50% HP, Fatalis will unleash his second Nova, an attack even more powerful than the end of phase 1. This show of power requires the hunter to run behind the giant metal slab of a door, which melts away as if it was butter by the end of this assault. This segues us into the primary mechanic of the hunt. Fatalis' chest begins emanating an orange glow as if his very body has become a furnace. This appearance is very fitting, as if you have not yet broken his horns, At the beginning of this final phase, Fatalis has access to new moves and receives a massive power up, causing his flames to increase in intensity. As you might have guessed, this is the primary mechanic of the fight, and failing to break his horns will make this final phase much harder to survive. You can achieve this horn break 2 times throughout the hunt, both of which will weaken his flame attacks in the final phase, regardless of which phase you broke them in. The second break will ultimately cause his fire attack damage to return as it was in phase 1, so you're going to want to try and achieve this. I wish I had more to add on and help you here, but to be completely honest, other than running Part Breaker and hitting his head, I'm not sure of how else is best to achieve this. According to a Reddit post I found, if you are taking on Fatalis solo, as I have, getting a head break requires you to deal roughly 13,500 HP worth of damage to his head. Veteran hunters and speedrunners, I encourage you to leave any additional information for new players and myself that I might have missed regarding this, and any other aspect of the fight. A lot of positive tips and tricks were left on my Alatreon video, which I found very helpful, so please keep it coming. Aside from this, there are 3 more Novas Fatalis will perform, and these happen at 38, 20 and 5% HP respectively. As instructed by the NPCs, all you will need to do here is head over to Fatalis' position while he's doing this. Please note his wind pressure and rules can delay you from traversing the arena, so be careful there. With dual blades in hand, I never particularly struggled with this, but I imagine for other weapons it can be a bit more awkward. At some point during the later stage of the hunt, the Dragonator will become available. This will fire 2 giant piercing attacks, and both heads of the Dragonator deal separate damage, equivalent to 5% of Fatalis' HP each. Naturally, you're going to want to make sure Fatalis is situated towards the middle of the Dragonator, as 10% of Fatalis' HP this late into the fight is a massive game changer. It can be a pain getting him to move over to you, and he will pelt you from a distance before walking over, so be careful while trying to reposition. Also note that the roaming ballista will become available for use again, roughly 10 minutes after your prior use, so this will be another great opportunity to deal some extra damage. Now, this is my absolute favourite part of the hunt. When you hit Fatalis with the Dragonator, the epic Proof of a Hero theme begins playing for our grand finale. This song for me is like a mental buff. I feel like I can take on the world when it starts playing, and it lets you know that you're so close to, well, proving that you're a hero. And before long, you'll do just that. The footage you've been watching isn't from my original first kill, because, like Alatreon, I didn't record it. However, thanks to my graphics card built-in replay system, I luckily do have the clip to show you. For some reason, no audio was captured, which is a shame. I remember celebrating while I was in Discord with my friends, so I would have loved to have included that. You might be wondering, well, why didn't you record it? And well, to be completely honest, this was only my second attempt at the hunt, and I wasn't expecting to actually slay him. This brings my Monster Hunter journey full circle. If you've watched my other videos, you'll likely know that this was a brand new save file I made with the Return to World campaign around a month ago, and I had never beat Fatalis on my original playthrough. I've since extensively played Monster Hunter Rise and improved massively through replaying World, gaining roughly 800 hours of playtime across both games. Despite heaps of failed hunts 3 years ago, all of my hard work, knowledge and love for Monster Hunter I've since gained made short work of this encounter. By no means am I trying to boast here, as I no longer consider myself a new player at all. I full well know how difficult Fatalis is from my past experience. Even now, after 10 kills, my best time is only 18 minutes, and I'm still carting more or less every hunt. It just brings me so much joy that I've finally overcome an obstacle that haunted me all of these years. It really was one final quest that I had to complete. Now, I'm not done with Monster Hunter World at all, and I sincerely look forward to Wild's releasing next year. This simply closed out a chapter of a book with many more pages left to be written. So make sure to subscribe and stick around to see the rest of my journey. As always, leave a comment as to anything I might have missed in this video, or your general thoughts on Fatalis. Personally, I think he is a fantastic final boss, well worthy of his reputation. Thanks for watching.